edition of Spence and Surge, the Spence and Surge Show. I'm Spence and he's Surge. We got a ton to talk to on today's show. First, we're going to talk about Sean Mannion, breaking news across the wire. I believe this is our 4th episode.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Can you believe how...
It's episode 6. We're going to scratch that.
Can you believe how fast the time's come? Like, I can't even believe, it felt like just yesterday, you know, we were talking about what this would even look like. And now here we are.
Exactly, and we're 6, and we're trying, and again, within a couple of episodes, I mean, there's some special things in the works. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to overpromise, underdeliver.
Yeah.
So
I think that we'll leave it at that.
I'm not going to overpromise it. Let's get to the news that everybody wants to hear about, especially all the local fans in Philadelphia that are tuning in to the Spence and Surge Show. Sean Mannion, hired as the offensive coordinator today, 33 years old. Surge, you've looked into Sean Mannion. Go ahead and tell us about Sean Mannion and then maybe some initial thoughts about Sean Mannion.
Well, so Sean Mannion, you know, was originally drafted by the Rams. He bounced around the league. His most last stint was with that. They made it to the NFC
The
Championship.
Rams.
No, the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Like 2019, 2020.
Case Keenum,
yeah.
like with this.
He was like the backup back
the
then.
Minneapolis Miracle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He wasn't exactly like, I think he only started like 2 full games in his whole career. I think his best season was he had like 139 yards, something like that. Like, it's not exactly the greatest from a player perspective in terms of NFL career, but it's something to be said about being around the league. There's a lot to be said about, you know, who has hired him and the coaching tree. He's branched off of like the Shanahan coaching tree is, I think, what everybody gives him credit for. Some people want to give it the LaFleur, whatever. But either way, quarterback's coach, kind of, you know, what are we doing as the Eagles in terms of like, you know, our biggest gripe was giving the keys to a Ferrari to somebody that's never driven before. Like, you are in a championship window. You have a small window of to hit or miss on these type of moves, whether like who controls your play calling, who controls your offensive schemes. When you have the most expensive offense in the NFL, I don't know if that would be who I would go with in terms of like just a resume standpoint. I don't know if he would be even qualified, but there is some things that we'll get into in a second. But I just, from just face value, like once I heard about it, that was my initial thoughts.
I understand. And I think that's what a lot of people are also saying. And for people out that are like Sean Mannion is going to be a home run hire, it's a pure guess. It's a pure guess. And then if he fails, we can point to these concerns of never driven the car. However, let's continue with this NASCAR analogy or this racing analogy. All the best drivers right now are head coaches in the NFL. Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Kellen Moore, LaFleur is a decent offensive coordinator. Even Mike McDaniel, I guess that he might be the best. So, especially on the offensive side of the ball, it's so hard to get a great offensive coordinator as somebody with that experience. It's very difficult. Now, I think the Eagles, you know, were interested in Brian Daboll. This job is very interesting. You have a lot of pressure, but you have great wide receivers, a championship quarterback, Saquon Barkley still an offensive line. However, the ownership in Jeffrey Lurie, he is a hands-on owner, we could say that, and same with Howie Roseman. So maybe that was trepidation about this hire. However, you look at this, and I'll ask you, okay, were there some retreads that you were not interested in? Like in using our driver analogy, maybe they've driven the car, but they're average drivers. They're not whipping it around like Jeff Gordon, and they're not terrific drivers. Like an example would be a Matt Nagy, who kind of failed a little bit in the Chiefs. Arthur Smith, who's kind of average, uses Geno Smith a lot, heavy run game, but not the sexiest thing. So would you rather have a retread that's a little safer? Where's your mind with that?
I mean, ultimately, who puts their name in a hat every year? Like, think about it. Like, if you were looking for a defensive coordinator, who would be the first person in your mind? Probably like a Bill Belichick, probably, but those guys aren't always available, right? So who they had available is somewhat of a question mark because of how many people were taking the interviews, how many people just completely declined in all. Like, I kind of thought, whether for better or worse, like you said, like a Brian Daboll type-esque, wasn't exactly the best driver, was one of those guys that, like, you always saw those clips of him, like, great offensive mind. He's always picking the minds of, like, these draft picks, like the infamous clip with him and Shador, and also transverse that with the clip with him and Jackson Dart. But, like,
Right.
you get confused in who's really attainable as, like, an everyday fan, but also even as, like, a social media creator or even just, like, one of those talking figures. Because at the end of the day, like, Jeffrey Lurie, like you said, he's a very hands-on, and, like, he wants his guy.
Yeah.
But what we've been seeing recently is the trend of Jeffrey picks it, Nick picks it, Jeffrey picks it, Nick picks it. That's pretty much what it's been. Like, Nick gets it wrong, Jeffrey and Howie lean him towards a certain way.
And correct it.
Yeah, correct it. So I'm kind of puzzled a little bit by, like you said, the drivers of the ship. So, like, people like Todd Monken didn't want him, right? I kind of also, although this is going to be...
You didn't want Todd Monken?
No, I didn't.
I thought he would be perfect.
I mean, based on his schemes that he's had in the past,
Because he
Saquon
can either be a run-centric offense with Lamar, or you can have him drop back like Stetson Bennett. So he showed some versatility.
Yeah, and also
where Brian Daboll, I think he would risk Jalen Hurts. Like, and I think I would have a lot of fun with that in terms of not only running. You're probably thinking of him running, but with Josh Allen, his first couple of years, he would throw the ball like 30 times.
Yeah.
Just to get Josh like revved up and ready to rock. Mm-hmm. And that's why that Titans offense is, Cam Ward's going to be, he's going to be spreading the ball everywhere. He's going to be spritzing it everywhere. He's going to be interceptions. That's like high risk, stubborn offensive coordinator.
You'd have to dive deep into all these guys. So while we're on the topic, why don't we just get right into Sean Mannion? Let's dive deep into him.
Yeah, let's go.
So if for those of you guys at home that probably want to know a little bit more about, the guy that's now going to be taking the reins of the Eagles offense, it's, again, a mixed bag. You're going to get people that are going to dislike him. You're going to get people that are going to really, really love him. Personally, I'll leave my opinion to the end.
Yeah, and then I'm going to give my opinion.
But there's some interesting statistics that jump out to you. Like we mentioned, he is part of that Shanahan tree. So motion is his name. Like, that's basically like the part of his offense that he does the best with. I think everybody can remember, Jaden Reed, all the different wide receivers that they've had, like not the biggest names, made it work.
Dobbs.
Yeah, Romeo Dobbs,
Reed,
what he did with Golden, that touchdown.
Kraft.
I mean, you can't deny his creativity. How much of that added also to, like, the LaFleur, Shanahan, like, passing it down type thing? Well, we don't know. But what we do know is that the Green Bay Packers last year, this is going to give every single Eagles fan a little bit of some, like, peace of mind here, but they ran hitches at the 31st rank. They were the second to last team in the league running hitches. And the Eagles were obviously first by a, 300 hitches ran difference. It's an extraordinary amount, to be honest with you. Actually, the Eagles ran so much more hitches than them that it's almost the exact same amount that Green Bay ran, doubled. And we still ran more than them, pretty much. And then on top of that, you have some little bit of, like, statistical backing in that under him, Jordan Love was able to throw for 4,200 yards. They were able to have, like, a incredible success on first down. They had around 52 to 54% first down conversion on early downs, which is insane, to be honest with you, which is also the one thing that we struggle upon as the Eagles this year. So if you look at the metrics and, like, I really can see like a guy that's never played football before that's looking at this guy's resume and going, like, well, the things that we don't do good at, he tends to be doing good at. Their DVOA was was fifth ranked offense.
Which
DVOA.
means what? Difference.
Very Oh my God.
Well, it just means like how
efficient. Yeah, it's an efficiency rating. It's efficiency rating. What it actually means.
Like Seattle was nasty.
The amount of acronyms that there are in this day and age, everything's an advanced metric nowadays. You can find out how many times they pick their nose.
Exactly, on next gen.
Yeah. Which, by the way, then people did do that during the Super Bowl run. How many times you opened the book? Remember the A.J. Brown thing?
A.J. Brown. How many times he read? Which probably was less than he said.
Yeah.
Did he skip to the end?
I
said you read it.
Listen, there were some moments where there was like a bookmark and it was like,
come on, AJ.
But anyway,
better read.
And then they were third in EPA per play. So that's, again, advanced stat nerd metrics and all this good stuff. But like I said, they were top 5 in early down success. And he did a really good job with where he got Jordan Love in footwork and his where his eye discipline was. And I think that was a big reason and why you really can never count Green Bay out in any single game.
Yeah. Couple of things about Mannion, and I'm gonna hit my big points here, and then you're going to really give, your full assertion of him. Here's the thing about Mannion that's exciting is that Matt LaFleur coached Mannion and didn't want Mannion leaving the building. So sometimes the NFL has an underworld, and sometimes I try to discover it too. Like it's like a secret society, so I'll watch coaching interviews. So like Davis Webb out of Cal, for example, was somebody Texas Tech and Cal. I followed him a lot, and I thought he would be a stud in the NFL because of how hard he worked.
Oh yeah,
he would work tirelessly. The way he interviewed and talked as a young player. I'm like, this guy's going to be a coach. It's kind of like Ty Simpson current day. You could tell in these special guys.
Even
so Sean Mannion, exactly. So Sean Mannion, he's kind of like Nick Mullins is in the NFL. Grant Udinski's a brilliant mind. He could be brilliant. And guess what? The Eagles are tremendous at finding these gems, whether it's Christian Parker. Nobody wanted Nick Sirianni. He was the 5th guy hired in that. So I do trust Roseman and Laurie. They know the underground as well as anybody. They are innovative people. This is a Laurie hire, okay? Malik Willis was terrible with the Tennessee Titans. He could not throw the ball. He could barely hold the football out of Liberty and out of that Hugh Freeze offense. The Freeze offense, it froze in college.
Yeah, absolutely.
It froze big. His cell phone might not with who he's dialing up, okay? The point is, he did wonders. He did wonders with Malik Willis. Wonders with Malik Willis. This could be a gem of a hire. I'm choosing to believe in maybe the outside the box thinking. Now, I was wrong on Vic Fangio. I thought that he was washed up in Miami, Denver. He was coming off of some really rough stints. They hit huge on Vic Fangio, the Eagles. I'll tell you what, do you think fans would be more scared to face Mike McCarthy or this hire, Sean Mannion? Sean Mannion could be a whiz kid. He could be the next great offensive coordinator. The thing I probably don't want to see if you're an Eagles fan is Nick Sirianni. This is what I want you to address in your answer too, which is going to be explained coming up. Nick Sirianni could be a play caller with Sean Mannion too. That hasn't been ruled out. So I am more looking at it glass half full. No one could say that this is a slam dunk because he's never called a play. So on the surface, this is a big, big boy risk by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, this is literally rolling the dice. It's literally the only best way I can describe it. You're playing Lady Luck tonight because if he can replicate the type of success they had. So I'll leave one more statistic. So what we were converting at a 52% chance touchdown rate in the red zone last year. In 2025, Green Bay was at 68% touchdown rate. That's almost over a third of the time they get in the end zone, red zone, they're in the end zone. So that's, if he can recreate that stuff, if he can prove that he is the person that's actually responsible for a lot of that success, because it's a big jump from when he first got Jordan Love to where he is now. And again, what he did with Malik Willis, like there were some talks that people were saying, why rush Jordan back when they thought, we're playing the Bears again.
Well, it's the running game, it's power. But a lot of that is Josh Jacobs. And Saquon is a home run hitter. Josh is one of the most physical runners in the league.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that's a little worrisome is Jacobs is just a stud. Like, they have good personnel out there.
But again, Saquon Barkley, a stud, offensive player of the year, something Jacobs Did he even get it that year?
Probably
No,
not.
I don't think
No,
he
the
did.
highs of Barkley
Yeah.
are better.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to leave this on. I am a little bit more optimistic, but I'm like 51%. I'm like literally 51%. So if I had to say if this is a good hire or not, based on everybody else that was available, based on, the people that pretty much didn't want anything to do, and again, it being such a tough spot, I'm going to say that this was a good hire in terms of bringing in something fresh.
Would you say the home run would have been McDaniel? Who was your home run
McDaniel,
candidate?
yeah, for sure. But it takes a lot to want to, like he said, he either wanted to be a head coach or he, for whatever reason, obsessed with.
And this guy beat out Nathan Shieldhouse. He also beat out Frank Smith, who was under McDaniel. So
Did he beat out Bob Cooter as well?
Oh, yeah.
I believe so.
He would have fit like a glove.
He would have, absolutely. That's another guy. But again, ultimately, this comes down to what will Nick Sirianni's role be? Because, like you said, I'm very worried if this becomes one of those situations where seniority plays in, if things don't go right early on. If they don't, I'm hoping that they will. Obviously, glass half full. But if they don't go right, I'm worried that Nick Sirianni would take over play calling, especially in somebody else's schemes. And one of the biggest problems that we had in our 2 years that came up short when we had all the talent was the changing of the offensive play calling and stuff mid-season. We also did it defensively as well in 1 year, and that's just such a killer to have to just throw away everything that this guy's been yelling at you for all day in camp, the little things, the details, like he says, and then now you're just going to change it up again. So as long as this is let him drive the ship, like they said, with the autonomy of the offense, I'd say it's a 51%.
We're going to monitor it. You're listening and watching Spence and Sir.